Good evening, Lunenburg. My name is Brett Ramsden. I'm the chairman of the Lunenburg Sewer Commission. And we're going to start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag that Bill Bernard is holding up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. And I'm going to go back to, please bear with me, Lunenburg, while I renegotiate one thing here. I hope everybody had a productive day. And of course, I don't see the working agenda now, but that's okay. I'll work off the regular agenda. No problem. Moving forward. In accordance with the requirements of open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting will be recorded and can be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours of the meeting. This public meeting is being conducted remotely. The following information is also provided to members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use this link to join the public meeting webinar, which you will find on our agenda, or from a telephone dial toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter the webinar ID 831-8724-9940. If you have not registered with Zoom, you will be asked for your name and email address. Note, there is no participant ID needed. Just press pound when asked. Telephone users may dial *9 to request to speak after joining the meeting. Computer and app users may use the raise hand feature to request to speak. All right, thank you, everybody. We're going to start with a roll call of the commissioners, and I'm going to start with Dan Proctor.
Here.
And Scott Dahl.
Here.
And I am here as well. I don't see any other members present.
I've texted Arthur, but I haven't heard back.
Okay.
Oh, I have to make that well known. Arthur will not be attending tonight. He said that he had a prior commitment. He did call my phone line earlier today, so I don't think we'll expect him on this meeting tonight.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andrew. All right. And I myself are here, of course, so we do have a quorum. And with the staff, Jane Ranley.
Here.
And Bill Bernard.
Here.
And Andrew Valerie.
Here.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Is there any public or public comments or announcements to be made? I don't see any public. Does the commission or staff have any announcements or comments? Okay. Moving on, we're going to jump into our current business. And we're going to start with the minutes from 7/8. And I actually have something to ask Jane about the minutes. Let me just get back to that screen, if you will. Oh, I lost the minutes with in any event. There was a word that I wasn't sure, it wasn't misspelled, but I had it in front of me a few minutes ago, so I don't know where it went. But in all the years I've been on the commission, I've never seen Jane misspell anything. And it's not a misspelt word. It may be a word that I'm not sure should be there. But further down, about 3/4 down, it says effort, where it mentions a bylaw. And I think it's supposed to
Oh.
mean,
I see it in effect.
I think it's supposed to mean in place already,
No, there's already a bylaw.
in existence.
Effect.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it should say. So
Yeah.
it didn't pick it up because effort is spelled correct, but it wasn't the right word.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, I'll make that.
I get it. I just want to say, Jane, that's the first time and I'm no spelling guru, but in, I don't know, 5 years. So I don't mean to even nitpick like that, but I happened to see it, so I thought I'd let you know that correction needs to be done before we vote on it.
Okay.
But moving right along, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from, I believe it was 7/8. I have to get back to my other screen.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from 7/8.
Okay. Can I have a second on that?
I'll second that.
Great, we have a motion. It's been seconded. We'll do a roll call vote. Scott Dahl,
Aye.
Dan Proctor,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you, gentlemen. And then we'll move on to the sewer business manager and DPW director updates. We're going to jump right in with the Dana Street repairs.
All right, so the Dana Street repairs are complete.
Wow.
So that's good news. So when I talked to the contractor, he said, "Oh, the bolts holding one of the couplings together, the heads of the bolts were almost gone. They were so rusted out. So we were close to disaster. So it's good that we got this done."
Very good. Yeah.
Wow.
And FY25 money as well.
That's
As-
right.
as scheduled. So yeah.
We got it in before the end of the fiscal year, so that was good too.
Wow.
Yep.
Great.
Excellent work. Excellent
Yeah.
work. And being Dana Street, that would be one heck of a mess, wouldn't it?
It would. That's our major station. So
Yeah. It wouldn't
We
have
don't
done
need trouble
Dan's
seeing.
business any good either.
Well, if it took out all the buck mulch, I just know who to bill, that's all.
yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I think I'm slightly uphill, but not by much.
Exactly.
Anyways, that's great news, Director. And was there anything interesting learned from this, or anything they ran across that we might want to keep in mind for the future while they were repairing this?
No, I don't believe so. So yeah, they came up with their system, how to do the bypassing, and it worked. And they did say they needed the dual bypass. They said most of the time one worked, but occasionally the second one would kick in. So it's good that they did it that way. Everything seemed to work out fine.
How many years old is that system?
Just a little bit over 20. So
Okay.
with a design life of 25 years. So it was right there.
Yep.
I know we had some of a discussion about this before, Bill, but those bypasses, are those there to stay, or have they been removed?
I believe they're to stay. I'll have to double check on that, but I believe they're to stay.
I suppose the reality is they're not going to last any longer than
Mhm.
the equipment they just installed.
Right. 25 years, more or less, right?
More or less. Well, that's fantastic news. Does anybody have any more questions regarding the Dana Street project? Okay,
The bolts that were rusted on those were on the cutoffs, you said, or the bypasses, sorry. Is that something that they can easily get to inspect year to year on the PM stuff, or we just gonna find
Yeah,
out hardware?
yeah, you could definitely see them, right? You open the hatch and they're right, it's right there. It's a big coupling you could see. So,
Okay.
yeah, when we do the drawdown and we clean out the pits typically once a year, and they'll be able to see. So,
Okay, sounds great.
mhm.
yeah, and that's a new thing, doing it annually, right?
I don't think it's new. They may not have done it every year, but it does need to be done occasionally. You get a lot of stuff building up in the corners and, you know, it gets in the way. It gets sucked up into the pump sometimes, jams the pump. So, you know, just to make it work better, you gotta draw them down, clean them out.
And certainly allows for visual inspection.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very good. All right. So we're moving on to the manhole repairs, the IFB. What do we have for updates on that, though?
Yeah, so when In Situ Form came in, they were here for just under 2 weeks. So they fixed all the manholes that were not replacing the frame and cover. So I forget how many there were. There was quite a bit. They got through them all. They have a subcontractor coming in to do the frame and covers. I think he said in a couple weeks. And then once that's done, they'll go and make the repairs on the inside of those manholes. So it's moving along pretty well. I talked to them a bunch of times. I kept asking them any big surprises, any big holes, and they said no, just the typical stuff. So you know, they just patching walls and they had to fix some steps and this and that. So he kept saying, nope, it's just all normal looking stuff. No, so no big.
I assume they're aware that the biggest reason is for I&I, and that
Yeah.
I assume they're looking at grading around these manholes and keeping that kind of thing in mind, I hope. I know they have a seal,
Well,
but
Right. They should be to grade, you know, so when the cars aren't banging on them.
I suppose they're not gonna grade the road for us.
That's right.
So, now come on, they can't redo the road for us while they're at it?
I wish.
Yeah.
So what are they
Um,
doing in the basin, Phil? Are they like hydraulic cementing sealing? How do they seal?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they're patching holes and then they're putting a sealer around, especially up at the top, well, they're calling it the chimney part, right? It's the brick part. So they're precast concrete and then to get the grade is bricks. So that, you know, sealing that up good. And that's where a lot of the water is going to get in. And
Yeah.
they're sealing around pipes in and out. They had to fix some of the inverts. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Good.
Hopefully it helps with our I&I problem. You know, we did target the manholes that were called out to, you know, have I&I issues. So
yeah.
hopefully it helps. That's the goal of
That goes all the way back to when you cambered the lines. Is that what brought that report up? Is that how that went down?
Yeah, so some of the reports were maybe 5, 6, 7 years old.
Yep.
Then we had multiple reports, you know, of inspections. So
Mhm.
again, we targeted the worst of the worst.
Yep. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Does anybody have any questions regarding this before we move on, or?
No,
All right. So, that's great news. And the less I&I, the better. So, and then we're moving on to the end of year FY25 adjustments, and going for final approval. Would that be in your field, Andrew, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think we're all good with that. I got my last signature from Dan. So that's because I didn't have everyone's signatures at the time that I presented the agenda to the town clerk. So but we're good now.
Excellent. All right. And then back to the ADU discussion. Where do we stand there? I know there was going to be a certain amount of we're going to discuss some of the research done over the last couple of weeks that a couple people might have looked into. Trying to recall. I know that Dan had done some research and we hadn't come to a decision on what to charge or how to charge for these.
Well, personally, I think if it's an ADU unit and it's gonna be called that by the town of Lunenburg through their building permit process, then I think we should have a flat rate for that unit, because the plumbing for that unit is gonna be external. In other words, it's gonna go from that building, most of the time, it's gonna go from that building to the existing building, which would require an inspection, I believe. Which would then, get billed into the game plan. So I just feel like if that's the way the ADUs are gonna be set up, then I really feel, a flat rate of, maybe $500 or $1,000 to cover our inspection process, to make sure we don't have any, pipes that are leaking going from the ADU to now to the existing house, because now it goes from the existing house down to the main, which is already in place theoretically. So I just feel like that is a way to start that whole ADU fee structure. I know we talked about whether we would ever start charging people for adding bedrooms onto an existing house, which I still don't feel like, I feel like we should do that, just because I know other towns do. That's what I mentioned that Leominster does. Leominster just gets a flat rate if you add a bedroom to your existing house. They do the bedroom count of $220 per bedroom. So if you add a bedroom to a 3-bedroom house, now that can be less expensive, because that doesn't really involve Bill, because that's really a building inspector, plumbing inspector. They're all gonna do their inspections, because all that plumbing change, it might not even be a plumbing change. It's just adding a bedroom, but it is adding more flow to the system theoretically. So I feel like that there almost should be 2 different fees, depending on whether it's just an additional bedroom or if it's an ADU unit, which would require some outside plumbing.
Yeah, all along I felt that a flat rate is a good idea. It's, we have enough enough to keep on our mind, and Andrew is busy enough. If he's got a flat rate he can give people. And I assume, whether it's a pump system or any other system to get it to the main line from the house to the street, being what it is, it won't be going directly to the street. And if something happens to, maybe we could put a little side item that if for some reason one of these units has to go directly to the street, then there has to be further discussion or something, for approval or something. Is there any way to put that in, Andrew or Bill? Do you know? Does
So,
that make sense?
yeah, no, it does. So Bill and I, we do have a meeting with town council. Was it Bill for August 21st?
Yes.
At
So
10 a.m.
if one of the sewer commissioners wants to attend that, you can. So it's August 21st at 10 a.m. at the library.
Andrew, can you email that to us? Just that date,
Yep, absolutely. I will do that
Yeah.
tonight.
I can go.
I can make that work.
What was it, August 21st at 10 a.m. at the library?
That
Yes.
is correct.
Wow, can't believe I remember that. Let's see.
Yeah, and again, only one, well, yeah, or 2, I guess, could go, right? Because 2 doesn't make a quorum.
But do we have to go in an official capacity, or can we be observers? And
Well, if it's more than 2, then it has to be a public meeting.
oh, right. I see. I doubt more than 2 of us are going to make it.
Yeah.
Looking at
Just-
my calendar, I think I have something in Cambridge at that time, so I don't think I'm gonna be in town for it.
Yeah.
But if something changes, I'll talk with the other guys and see what we got.
Mm. I think it would be fantastic if at least 1 or 2 of us did make it and could add that to our discussion. Or of course, any minutes from that meeting would be helpful to have for our next discussion on this subject. Does that make sense to everybody?
It does.
Yep.
Excellent. Great. So the 21st, we have a meeting before that, I believe. Yeah, we have a meeting on the 12th.
Correct.
So we can potentially talk further on that during or after the meeting about who plans or can attend, and maybe we could take it from there. And we'll certainly keep that on the agenda. Great. Well, we'll leave that one open, and if everybody's good with that, we can move on to the easements and possible new connections. We could have a general discussion on that. Who would like to lead that up, Andrew or Bill?
Well, I'll start, I guess. So we had a couple of contractors come in and they were asking about easements. You know, it's a couple different contractors, you know, they thought it would be easier to route the sewer through somebody else's property instead of straight out to the street, or somebody was trying to split a lot and you know, have two different connections, but they didn't, and it's on Mass Ave, they didn't want to get a state permit to put in a new lateral, so they, you know, talked about putting a manhole, connecting the two houses to the manhole, then to the lateral, so that would require an easement. So, you know, that people have been asking about it, so I want, it has to be allowed by the sewer commission. So before there was no easements without a real hardship, but the rules were changed a couple years ago to allow easements, but it's still up to the sewer commission. So if somebody's serious about it, they're gonna have to give us a plan, and then they'll have to appear before the commission and plead their case. So I just wanted to get it out in front of you guys, so I can send you the regs, or you can get the regs offline. You can read what the regs say, so we're well prepared for that meeting, if and when it comes.
That would be great. And yes, I recall that as well.
You send me that reading material when you get a chance, only because
Yeah.
I have an easement on my property and I don't know why. So,
A sewer easement?
well, it's water runoff.
Okay, so that's different than a sewer.
No, I know, but it's still an easement. It's not
Yeah.
mine. It's in the middle of my property.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure. if
You don't
I'm-
want to, you don't want the town putting a transfer station in on your property?
What's that?
You don't want the installation of a transfer station by the town on your easement?
No.
Boy, that's not very generous.
So that property on Mass Ave that Bill was talking about, I am actually contracted by the homeowner
Oh,
to do that sewer install long before I became a member of the sewer commission. And then when we were investigating where we think the stub is, that's when the other gentleman who owns the property came forward and said, I think that stub is on my property. So what happened was the property was subdivided. I'm not really sure. Like that goes through planning board because it's an A&R lot and all that type of stuff. Well, the planning board didn't really touch base with the sewer department and say, well, do we know where that stub is? You know, and I'm not sure that's even in this jurisdiction, but that's how that whole thing went down. So the property was subdivided, and then the woman who owns the house realized that her stub that was paid for through her betterment and what have you, or the previous owner's betterment, the stub is now on that other person's property. That's how that one all went down. So when that comes to a meeting, obviously I'm gonna have to excuse myself from voting on it, so just FYI. And I don't really care either way, to be honest, you know, whatever happens, happens, and I have plenty of work, so I'm not worried about it, but that is what happened on that property. And it's, there's a couple of them. I know I talked to you a long time ago, Bill, about the one on the corner of Leominster Road and Whiting Street, which is kind of the same exact scenario. There's a stub there, and they were talking about subdividing their property out in the back, and that was my only take on the whole thing, is that, you know, a manhole right at the property line would be about the only way that you could do it, and kind of avoid the easement is really what you do. Half of the manholes on one property A and the other half's on property B. You know, that's the way that could work. This one on Mass Ave, I'm not sure is possible, because I think that stub is quite a ways into that other gentleman's property, but that's what where the survey would have to happen and engineers and then, show it to us on a plan type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And there's been other contractors coming in with similar questions, so.
Mhm.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's why we changed that a couple years ago. There's so
Yeah.
many situations out there, nobody, everybody doesn't fit in the same box, and parameters. So,
Mm.
that's why we move forward now on a case by case basis and, we'll put our best foot forward.
Okay.
And, seeing as you're involved, we'll make sure it doesn't pass, of course, but, anyways, but looking forward to seeing these. And of course, new customers are always welcome. So that'll be interesting to see. And thank you for putting that on there, Belle. And thank you, Dan, for your input.
Yep.
So excellent. If there's no further with that, thought maybe we move on to the NPDES permit. On the mapping, is that connected to the DEP thing you sent us, Bill?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Right, so I sent a letter from the DEP, and you can see in their letter all the requirements
Mhm.
for submittals that they want. So I submitted some, but they want a heck of a lot more. So
Mhm.
that's where we turn to Wright Pierce to help us out. So we
Mhm.
chose Wright Pierce because they've been the engineer for the sewer department for the last, I don't know, 10 years. So they know our system. We know they do good work. We know they're expensive, but we know we're going to get quality work out of them. So, and
And we don't need any
and-
issues with the DEP.
Exactly. So, and they know the DEP, right? They're doing this for other towns too. So
Of course.
we'll get a good product from them.
Yeah, there's a lot of mention of,
yeah.
there's a lot of mention of INI in here. In requesting the town to address it and those kind of things. And we have endless paperwork showing our efforts to fighting INI. So
Mhm.
I have to say, I'm not too concerned about that part, and we certainly don't want INI. It's the enemy. So DEP obviously agrees. Is there anything you need from us regarding this, Bill?
Nope, we brought it up because I know Andrew said at the last meeting when I wasn't there was a few questions, so we put it on the agenda to hopefully answer all your questions.
Well, yeah, I mean, and mine was going back to the question is probably what Andrew had brought up to you was where it was the biggest, just about the biggest line item on their service contract with us, but what was I was questioning the need are they remapping every year? Is this a one-off every 5 years, every 10 years? Is this, wouldn't the mapping be simply just an add-on function of what's been updated? Like that, it was just more of clarification of what was involved in that big item on mapping.
Right, so I'm trying to think what the NIPD's permit, what the requirements are. I don't know if it says it in this letter.
The year before where I
Yeah.
was, so I didn't know if that's a recurring charge every year.
So the mapping, I believe they want to map every year, but it shouldn't be too expensive going forward because all they have to do is add extensions, right? That we may or may not have done. So if it's
One
the
would
same,
think.
we'll just give them the same map. If there was an extension, we'll have to add that on.
Yeah.
So since the last time it was updated, there's been a number of extensions. So it's gonna take them a little bit of effort. And then,
Yeah, question
Yeah.
was it mapped every year or is this a charge every year that we map every year, or was this an anomaly? Cause like I said, I don't know what last year's stuff was.
Right, well, I think some of these reporting requirements are new, right?
Yeah, I understand that.
So I believe they want to map every year. Uh,
The DEP or,
the DEP, yeah.
That's good
I
to know.
think, I
'cause
think I caught that in there too. Sorry, go
Mhm.
ahead, Andrew.
I was unable to answer that question last time, as to the frequency of, how often they want to do it, if it was, every year or every 5 years, so that's good to know.
Yeah, it was
Well-
more of, okay, is it, and I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't remember what the charge was. I just remember it being sizable. So I was wondering, is that the cost every year to maintain our mapping, or is this a one-off charge every few years and they redo everything? That's where I
Mhm.
was kind of going with it.
Yeah, so I suspect this year is a little bit high because we haven't updated in a while. But going forward, I would expect a lower cost because it won't take them as many hours to update it.
Okay, so that's what, yeah, that's what I'm kind of asking. So I'd be looking at that next year. Just saying, okay, if we're just updating going along, that's fine. I just wanted to understand the process.
Right. Good.
And we can throw that question back to Wright Pierce as well. If we see another huge number and say, wait a minute, last year you did all this mapping and now you're adding two extensions on and it's the same number, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah, what was the previous year's number? You know what I mean? And just what's involved. Is that that dollar amount, whatever we're paying this year, are we paying for a full map, or is that the annual cost of just updating the map?
Right. I think it's, according to, what I saw, it's, billing hours. That's how they're doing,
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so it wasn't a flex. Okay,
correct,
Yeah.
Bill, right? It's a, I think
That's
it's billing
gonna be the
hours.
biggest bill I've seen from them, in recent
Oh.
years myself.
Yeah, well, it's a big task.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
Um, most of their numbers over the years that I recall ranged from 10 to 20 unless it was something specific. In my recollection, does that sound right to you too, Bill?
it does, but it depends on the task,
Right,
it
of course.
depends on what you ask them to do. So
Yeah.
the last couple of years, yeah, we've needed a little bit of help. So, the task didn't take that much, right? But this is a big task. There's a lot of reporting requirements and we got to get it right because, right, it's going to DEP. So,
Right.
yeah.
Back to the DEP. It jumps from, it talks about collection of system staffing and whatnot for 2025. It talks a lot about 2024, and then it jumps back to 2016 on several comments. And I thought that was kind of interesting that it jumps, 8 years or more from one to the other. And I'm kind of trying to figure out why they would have done that, or what their thinking is, but of course we don't necessarily know that. They mentioned something about the
Is
the
that,
layout of the system and the flow directions and whatnot that was not conclusive and sent to them in 2016. Like that was a big deal to them back then, but they haven't said anything till 2025. It's only 9 years.
right. So what I had submitted to them, right, is on the first page. So the existing map was dated 2016. So that's what I had submitted to them. That's why they want an updated map.
Oh, I see.
But the first page is what I had sent to them. And I
Mhm.
thought I had covered all their requirements, but the permit, when you read the permit, it's huge. So obviously I missed some of the requirements, but they had a page with requirements and I don't know where all these other ones came from, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere.
And it mentions, the staffing, system
Mhm.
staffing plan. I mean, that's our subcontractor essentially. Alongside with you and, anyone needed from your staff when the time comes.
Right, and included the commission on it also, so
Right.
right from the top down, I'd put everybody on there.
Yeah, that part's confusing, 'cause
Hmm.
not sure what they're expecting there. I'm just having, just bringing up things that popped out at me when I was reading it, so. So how do you wanna handle this, Bill? You think we should talk to Wright Pierce and see if they can contribute any information you don't have to fill in these pockets, or where did you want to bring them in exactly?
Yeah, and that's exactly what their proposal is to take care of all these questions.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
very good. All right then. Are there any more questions at the moment regarding the NPDES permit? And what kind of deadline is there on that, Bill? Do we know?
So they're looking for an initial response by the end of the year, December 31st. And then there's yearly requirements, and I think it's earlier in the year they want it.
March of
I think it
26.
was March, is that what it is?
Oh, yeah, 26. Yeah.
So is this a new DEP division or requirement or something that is looking at all the town's sewer systems, or just out of
Well,
curiosity?
There's a new, we call it NIPDES, right? NPDES, NIPDES. There's a new NIPDES permit, so these are new requirements.
All right. Well, it'll be fun to find out how this pans out there. But we'll figure it out and get them what they need. Thank you, Bill, for all your efforts there. And Andrew, of course. So we're certainly going to want to, we're on to future agenda items. And we don't need to have Dana Street on there anymore, because that's been a successful completed repair project. Always great to hear that. We'll keep if we can keep the manhole IFB updates on there. And Andrew, anything on the financial end you think we need to have on the next agenda? That I'll leave that in your court.
Next agenda, I mean, billing will be going out in a couple of weeks or so. I'm just waiting on Lemonster, so we'll be working on that. So we'll definitely keep you updated in regards to the Q1 billing for this year. And yeah.
Excellent. Great. And we certainly want to keep the ADU discussion going. We'll talk about who can make that meeting at the library, and we'll figure that out along the way. We'll keep that on there. Easements.
We have what, a couple meetings before that anyways? Oh, one at least?
One meeting. Yep.
Okay. But we can figure it out then.
So yeah, so we'll keep the ADUs on there. We'll keep the should we just keep easements on there as or should we just wait until someone needs to come before us regarding the easements?
You may want to leave it on there, because after you read the regs, you might have some questions, so.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
great. Yep. And then, of course, we should keep the NPDES permit as an update, I think, every meeting.
Mhm.
And then if anyone can think of anything else.
So
Okay.
I guess it kind of goes on to old business. A few meetings back, we talked about extending sewer outside of the sewer service area.
That's right.
So I don't know if I sent you those regs, but I'll send you those regs too. I got another request on that today, so we'll try to get up to speed on that too. So I'll send you those regs.
Does that require a town vote?
It will, yes.
Very good. Appreciate everything you're gonna be sending us. Does anybody have any questions or, actually at this point, any comments?
I just have one question about what Bill was just saying. So if hypothetically, if someone wanted to extend the sewer in an area that's not in the sewer map now, would they actually make that presentation at town meeting, or would we, meaning the sewer commissioners, make it,
Well, we can recommend it.
or not recommend it? But they would
Right.
actually make that, they would actually make that presentation to the town.
I think that would be the best way to go,
Yeah.
because they're a proponent of it, you know?
Right. Okay, I was just curious. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they should come before you first and present it to you and get your buy-in. Because
Yeah.
if they don't have your buy-in, it's not gonna fly at town meeting.
Right.
And depending, it may end up in front of a couple of other town entities as well, depending on the situation, I would think. Wouldn't you agree, Bill? As far as zoning and potentially planning board.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want to put, words in anybody's mouth and make promises we can't keep.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
but those boards are, that's not the obstacle. The obstacle is whether they're gonna get sewer. It's just like water. I mean, if they pay to run water someplace, the water district would probably never say no because they wanna sell water. So if they pay for the whole water main to wherever they're talking, that's usually not the water district that fights it,
makes sense.
but yeah, so.
Yeah, everything's an uphill battle these days.
Kind of.
So, very good. All right. Are there any other questions or comments or announcements to be made? Well, moving forward, we've got our next meeting's gonna be August 12th, 2025. That's gonna be 7 o'clock regular meeting at the DPW. That'll be a hybrid meeting, of course. And then on August 26th, 2025, we'll have another Zoom meeting at 6 p.m. September 9th will be another 7 p.m. regular meeting at the DPW, also hybrid. And September 30th, 2025 at 6 p.m. will be a Zoom meeting. If there's nothing further, I'd like to get a
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn. Thank you very much.
I'll
I
make
ran out.
to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion that's been seconded. Scott Dahl,
Aye.
Dan Proctor,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you, Lunenburg. May everyone have a great night.
Thanks, guys.